Wes Stuhan min Freon and welcome to another video. Well, and welcome to the review of the first episode of The Rings of Power. Oh yes, the very, very long expected review is here, and I can only take one episode at a time. I'm not going to do a joint review of the two episodes, because this one episode has left me absolutely mentally drained. I had to go to the gym, return, and now I'm doing the review. Well, of course, everything that I have been talking about, even since before I made this channel, has been proved true and right. It has been confirmed. I will start with breaking the law, of course, with comparing as much as I can of the events from the show to the events or from the appendices that they apparently should be adapting, but there is no trace of it. And then I will move to the quality of the show and how it stands as a standalone TV series. Now, of course, there are going to be spoilers in the review. If you don't want the episode to be spoiled for you, I can't imagine why you wouldn't. Well, never mind. Then go watch it and come back. Of course, this is nothing connected with Professor Tolkien. Those things didn't happen nowhere in the books, not in the Silmarillion, not in the Unfinished Tales, although they don't have the rights to adapt these, but they didn't even happen in the appendices. This should be set in the Second Age. There are no dates given. All we have are names of the places we find ourselves in. And apparently, from what we can understand, we find ourselves somewhere at the beginning of the Second Age, but not at the very beginning. I would say that close to the middle. Of course, the time compression is apparent from the very beginning. We don't even know where we find ourselves. I will focus on Galadriel first, or Galadriel. She is an absolute 100% Mary Sue, Xena the warrior princess, go girl, slay queen character. No trace of Galadriel from the books, any of the books, from The Lord of the Rings, Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, the appendices, nothing. No trace of Galadriel as she was portrayed by Cate Blanchett in Peter Jackson's films. Nothing. None of that. In the books, at the beginning of the Second Age, right at the beginning, the very beginning, she was already married to Celeborn, and they went to Lindon. Then they established the kingdom of Eregion, and they had the daughter Celebrian. And then, of course, when Celebrimbor took over Eregion, they moved, and then after the defeat of Sauron, the War of the Last Alliance, they established Lothlorien. Well, she rarely ever left the side of her husband, Celeborn. Celeborn is nowhere to be found in the show. Celebrian is nowhere to be found in the show. Galadriel is a young, strong warrior who goes to a quest to find Sauron. We meet her at the beginning of the show, where, of course, everything that Gary from Ledrotek said in his streams over the last half a year has been confirmed so far in the first episode. She is bullied at the beginning in Valinor. It's Valinor, and she's bullied there by little elf kids. Her paper boat is destroyed that she makes and sends on water, is destroyed by her little elf friends. And then we meet her brother, only mention of one brother who is not named, because, and that's how they do these things, if they can't tell us who or what that is because it's not found in the appendices, they just vaguely show something or somebody. They don't name it because they don't have the rights to use the names. So there is only one brother. I think it is Finrod Felagund. And then there is this prologue, which is absolutely nothing that the shills have been talking about for the last couple of months. No 9 to 15 minutes long prologue of the like of Peter Jackson's prologue in the Fellowship of the Ring. It's basically just the shot of Valinor that we know already. The first picture that was released of the two trees. And then she said Morgoth destroyed the trees. There is a shadow of Morgoth, a shadow of a creature with a crown. Then the trees catch in fire, and then the elves move to Middle-earth. Full stop. No slaying at Alqualon there. No crossing over Helcaraxe. No creation of the Silmarils. No Feanor. Nothing. There is something that resembles the oath of Feanor, when there are elves that are drawing swords from their sheaths, that they will, swear that they will defeat Morgoth. But it seems that they are doing it to avenge the death of the trees, of Laurelin and Telperion, whose names are not mentioned there. Nothing connected with the Silmarils. Then we move to Middle-earth, and there's a battle. And there's, cut, and Finrod is lying on, he's dead. The picture that we saw in one of the trailers, she takes his dagger and takes his quest, because his quest is apparently to find the servant of Morgoth, Sauron, who is nowhere to be found right now. So she travels with her companions, random elves, absolutely incompetent cucks who just want to go home, want to go back all the time. They are whining. They go to Fordwaith, to the frozen lands. They scale the wall from the Game of Thrones in full armor, in freezing freezing weather, and all they want to do is just go home. So Galadriel is leading a squadron of elves to find Sauron. Nobody believes that Sauron is anywhere to be found. Only her. We get to the Sauron's keep that we know about from the trailers, and well, they find the mark of Sauron and a cave troll or snow troll that they take. That she takes down. She kills absolutely. The troll first kills 15 elves, highly skilled elves apparently, but only Galadriel is able to defeat him. So they go back to Lindon, to Gil-galad, and guess what he does? He's not happy with Galadriel because he believes that if she keeps looking for Sauron, she will bring him back this way. This makes absolutely no sense. So he wants to get rid of her, and he sends her to Valinor. What the bloody hell? He just decides to send the elves that were looking for Sauron to Valinor, just randomly. Just go. You are forgiven. This has nothing got to do with Valar. No, none of it. King Gil-galad, I am granting you the passage to Valinor. So they are sailing there, and there's this wall of clouds that separates, and there's light. But Galadriel remembers the oath she swore. She jumps into the water, and the wall closes, and she finds herself in the middle of the Sundering Seas. What she wants to do at this point, in the middle of the bloody sea, I don't know. I suppose she believes she can swim from Valinor to Middle-earth. Good luck, girl. Well, and then we've got the hobbits, the Harfoots. Well, of course, it's absolutely, they shouldn't be there. There is no trace of them in the appendices. In the Second Age, they shouldn't be there, and they resemble more like the little people from Willow, but dirtier, more gypsy-like. They are basically gypsies. Traveling gypsies who are trying to survive in the wilderness. And that's all. That's it. They are gathering raspberries. Or what was it? Blackberries. And there is, of course, female Frodo and female Sam. Because we need a pair of hobbits that would resemble Frodo and Sam. But of course, we live in 2022, and men are useless, and it would be the best if all the men died, right? So there can't be men Frodo or men Sam. It has to be Nori Brandyfoot, who has an elven name, I don't know why, and her friend, the female Sam. And there's of course Sadok Barrows, the Hobbit or the Harfoot, Harfoot are hobbits, by the way, who has ancient texts and reads from them. I don't know how. When I don't think hobbits could read at the time or write, but of course Sadok Barrows can because he's perfect. And then in the end, the Meteor Man falls down from the skies, and the little Frodo, she Frodo finds him. All right, and it is going to be Gandalf, most certainly. And other than that, we meet, of course, Arondir, who that guy can't act. He's a plank of wood. So we find ourselves in a constructed original area made up by Amazon, Tir Harad, where there is a watchtower with a squadron of elves who keep order in that area, because in that area people whose ancestors served Morgoth lived, and they are very suspicious about the people. And there is a very strong connection with the primary world when Arondir comes to a pub and somebody tells him, "You people." Of course, we can connect it with the fact that he's an elf, and he was told that by a man, by a human being. But they were all evil, dirty, white people, and they said to him, "You people." And you know what Arondir looks like. So apparently that is a clear reference to modern day primary world racism. And there is an evil spreading in the east, and they find it out because a cow gets poisoned, and Arondir squishes her teeth. Yes, Arondir squishes a cow's teeth, and black milk comes out, and that's why they find out there's something wrong. So he and the female healer, Bronwyn, they go to an adventure to find out what's wrong in the east. Jesus Christ Almighty! So, these are the main points that I can remember. I am assuring you, I am absolutely not going to be rewatching this. I'm only going to be watching once and then reviewing the episodes. Now, as far as the show as a standalone TV series, it's bad. It's really bad. The CGI cannot be praised. Do you know why? Because the CGI is enormous. The CGI is generic. The CGI is mediocre. The CGI is not any better than any fantasy film or show that has been released in the last 5 to 10 years. There was better CGI in the Warcraft movie. There is better CGI in Game of Thrones. There is better CGI in the House of the Dragons. Don't come at me with visuals. It's generic. It's mediocre. There is nothing special about it. I will not praise this show for the visual effects. The costumes are not good. 10,000 times better costumes in The House of the Dragon. 10,000 times better costumes in Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson that was made over 25 years ago. You have to think about the fact that it was being made in the middle to the end of the 1990s. Much better costumes. I don't care if Weta worked on the Rings of Power. It doesn't show. As easy as that. The soundtrack does not even touch the heels of the soundtrack from The Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson, not even from The Hobbit. All that Howard Shore did was that he apparently, they say, contributed to the main theme. Other than that, it was made by Bear McCreary. It's generic. I can't remember a single tone from the soundtrack. Now, there were many nonsensical things and plot holes and scenes that really didn't make any sense, like one out of all of them, because I don't want to take much of your time. So in the dungeon, or in the keep, really in the tower, not a dungeon, in the tower at the beginning of the episode, Galadriel and her friends, they found Sauron's mark on an anvil. So before that, one of the elves says, "I can't feel my fingers, I must have lost all sense," and looks like a complete idiot. And she says, "That's because this place is so evil that our fires don't give any warmth." Alright, I thought that Sauron and Morgoth were kind of lords of fire, and then, they burned everything they could. So why would fire not work? Alright, but it was very cold there, so that's understandable. But then they find the anvil, and Galadriel, it was in the snippet released a couple of weeks ago, she sees a snowflake fall on the anvil, and the snowflake evaporates. And it is apparent that the snowflake evaporates because of the heat that is being, because the anvil is so hot. Because the symbol is hot and evil, fire. So she says water. So she pours water on the anvil and the water freezes. So how come the snowflake got hot and evaporated by water, but water freezes? It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely. Galadriel, of course, she is an absolutely annoying character. Every line she says just radiates with being bitchy, annoying female who takes nobody's orders. She will defeat everybody. She will find Sauron herself. She is the only one who is correct, and nobody else is or will ever be right. She can break a wall of solid frozen ice with her fist. One fist. That's absolutely nonsensical. And then, of course, to sum it all up, the script, I wrote like this myself. I wrote generic, cliche, cringy lines of a script of dialogues when I started writing fantasy stories at the age of 7 or 8. 7 or 8, I think. I started writing fantasy stories when I was 8, and I wrote like this when I started writing the stories at 8. It is absolutely boring. When it's not cringy or bad, it's boring. I was bored throughout the entire episode. I was tweeting and retweeting, and I didn't even laugh. I thought I would be laughing because it would be so bad. Maybe I will laugh at the other episodes. And finally, if you want to tell me that, you've only seen one episode, watch the whole series. No, well, I will. But if you want to go do a good series, you have to make the first episode awesome. Because you need the audience to want to watch the rest of the show. If the first episode is boring to bad, nobody wants to watch the rest. So don't come at me with things like, oh, most shows get good after the 3rd episode. Most shows get good after 3 seasons. No, a show or a film has to be good from the beginning. And this is the worst start you could ever imagine in your entire lives. So, the review of the 2nd episode will come tomorrow, because I will not manage to kick myself to watch it today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching. Namaria.